focus on diversity, a walking tour of Wheaton, and a green roof in Tacoma Park. All that and the latest news coming up next on Montgomery Plans. Thanks for watching Montgomery Plans. I am Michael Brown. We're here to bring you up to date on important land use issues facing those who live and work in Montgomery County. Today's show looks at diversity in the county through the lens of a recent contest winner. Then we'll tour Wheaton with the county's planning director, followed by a look at the City of Tacoma Park's new green roof. But first, let's go to the top news-making decisions of the Montgomery County Planning Board.
Hi, I'm Susan Kennedy. Topping the agenda in news for this episode of Montgomery Plans, the update to the Wheaton Sector Plan. It's been nearly 20 years since this plan has been amended, and this new vision focuses on revitalization near the Metro's Red Line and reinvigorating downtown Wheaton. Planners say this slice of Montgomery County on the Red Line is ready for redevelopment, and they are ready to transition downtown Wheaton into a great urban center.
You have this tremendous transportation network, so you're really getting more people off of the roads, and you already have existing infrastructure here, so the investment is here. So you have a network of streets, you have community identity. It's a perfect opportunity for density that's already occurs in the zoning, and what we really want to do is to encourage that development and to improve on that zoning to get a mixed-use, vibrant center that Wheaton was always envisioned to be.
Planners hope to emphasize Wheaton's strengths and encourage growth while maintaining its eclectic character. The plan supports increased density in the downtown core near the Metro while protecting long-established neighborhoods. The new commercial residential zone will promote a more pedestrian-friendly downtown and allow for mixed-use projects.
The notion here is that we'll get more housing, which is really great because that really invigorates the downtown, and people living in an area visit the restaurants and the stores. We also want to encourage more office development, whether it's Class A or it's smaller professional offices, because again, that's part of the cycle of the economy and supporting the businesses down here. In addition to that, we'll also be working to get open space and other kinds of amenities, improving the streetscape, and then creating other kinds of sustainable things like green roofs and better stormwater management.
Planners hope to encourage closer links between Wheaton Westfield Mall, small businesses, and the Metro station. The plan also proposes the creation of new open space in the Wheaton Triangle area. It's hoped this space will provide an area for community activities and an attractive urban setting where shoppers can relax, read, and eat lunch.
So one of the things that we want to do is encourage the mall to have more of a face on Veers Mill. It now sets back from the street. And at the same point, in redeveloping this triangle that we're sitting on, which is the bus bay area, and near the Metro station, and behind us, which is parking lot 13, and the key intersection that's at Veers Mill and Reedy Drive, to begin to create the mix of uses that are there so that this core area of the downtown allows shoppers and residents and workers to move between these quadrants so that they can better enjoy all of these uses. And in doing that, the people that come to the mall will more likely visit the small businesses and vice versa.
The sector plan recommends a variety of housing types in close proximity to the Central Business District and the Metro station to help promote a more walkable community. In the end, planners want this sector plan to provide tools that will make this redevelopment process less challenging. The draft plan is being reviewed by the Planning Board in work sessions this winter and will be sent to the County Council for consideration early next year.
What you begin to see happening is young people moving to Wheaton and retirees potentially moving to Wheaton that no longer want to keep their large houses, and creating the vibrancy of that mix of age groups, uses, and ethnicities that so make an urban area vibrant.
The longest-standing log park structure in Montgomery County is being recommended for historic designation on the county's master plan. The Kensington Cabin has stood here for nearly 80 years as the keystone of the Kensington Cabin Park. It was originally built as a rustic recreation center for a fast-growing Montgomery County. The cabin became one of the earliest projects of the Park and Planning Commission after the Public Works Commission, an arm of President Roosevelt's New Deal, abandoned it in 1934. In October, the Planning Board unanimously recommended the historic designation, which would give the cabin an extra level of protection until funding can be found to maintain it.
Well, if the cabin is designated on the master plan for historic preservation, it gets special recognition and there's an extra level of protection for the building. So if there are any projects on the cabin or in its immediate vicinity that affects the appearance of the building, then they would get reviewed by the Historic Preservation Commission. And so it helps to ensure that any changes are compatible with the building. It also recognizes the history and significance of the building.
Originally, the Kensington Park and Cabin were built to create green space and preserve the stream valley in the down county. It was an area some saw as needing protection from the growth that was occurring in that part of Montgomery County.
When the park system started, the idea was to create green space in down county because at this time there were thoughts that the area was going to start to modernize, the suburbs were going to start to crop up near Washington, D.C. So they wanted to protect the stream valleys, and Kensington is smack dab in the middle of that.
The cabin is one of the oldest existing examples of parkitecture buildings left in Montgomery County. It has served as a park welcome center, community center, and a meeting house for residents of Kensington, but closed its doors in 1991 due to a lack of funding. Officials say they hope this process will educate the community about the cabin and its significance to the history of both the town of Kensington and the county as a whole.
So what they wanted to do was not only create green space, they wanted to create recreational opportunities for community members. So the Kensington Cabin was viewed as an arena to bring people out to do activities outdoors, but also because it's an enclosed facility, they could do art projects, drama, things of that sort, and it can incorporate any age group. It was from, children all the way up to senior citizens.
Historic designation of a building helps to raise the level of awareness about historic structures, and often residents in the county don't realize the treasures that we have in the county, and so the historic designation helps to elevate them.
The Kensington Cabin is one of the last examples of what the Parks Commission did for the public in its earliest years. The park is still used for soccer and baseball games and is the last park cabin standing in the county. The council will consider the historic designation request early next year. Well, that wraps up the news for this edition of Montgomery Plans, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
I'm home and I love it. I'm home where I belong. I'm home and I love it. I'm home where I belong.
It's always nice to come home, but these days, many Americans are at risk of foreclosure and losing their homes. Making Home Affordable is a free program from the U.S. government that has already helped over 1 million struggling homeowners like these. And we want to help you.
I'm home. I'm home. And I love it. I'm home. I'm home.
Find out now what your options are. Go to makinghomeaffordable.gov or call 1-888-995-HOPE. The sooner you act, the better chance we can help you.
I'm home. I'm home where I belong.
Welcome back. The Planning Department has launched its Celebrating MoCo speaker series with a focus on diversity in the county. The series kickoff featured a contest describing diversity in images and words. Our focus segment looks at how this contest reflects our changing society.
I'm Valerie Burton. To learn what residents and others think embodies diversity in Montgomery County, planners hosted a contest in October that tested the creativity of a dozen or so presenters. In 20 images about the future, presenters showed their ideas about diversity in rapid-fire presentations, 20 images shown for 20 seconds each. Audience members voted on their favorite presentation using instant polling devices. It was the first of the Planning Department's Celebrating MoCo speaker series, free, informative sessions about the community that will run throughout the winter and spring. We held the contest at the Silver Spring Civic Building, a much welcome addition to downtown Silver Spring. The Celebrating MoCo speaker series is co-sponsored by the Silver Spring Regional Center, which is hosting the sessions at the Civic Building and helping publicize them. Recently, I sat down with Regional Center Director Humberto Rodriguez to learn why he got involved.
Well, the whole notion of the speaker series fits so wonderfully well with the Silver Spring Regional Center's mission. And when we were exposed to how the Planning Department did this last year, and some of us participated both as panelists and in the audience, we saw that this is totally a great fit.
This year's theme, diversity, also seems to be a great fit. The changing face of the county as a whole brings a wealth of new ideas, services, products, and languages, all of which is so evident in Silver Spring.
Everyone that comes to Silver Spring from elsewhere, the first thing they inevitably say is, oh my God, what a wonderful diversity, age-wise, ethnic-wise, food-wise, everyhow. And in so many ways, it really does define us, and it defines our strength, and it's not bicultural, it's multicultural, multi-ethnic, and that degree of diversity is really found in almost nowhere else in the United States, and that is our true strength here.
Rodriguez not only attended the kickoff contest, he participated as well.
I had a great time to participate and go around taking pictures of, in my case, of signs, and to see when the actual event happened, the beautiful diversity in the diversity in itself. And then it was hands down the contestant that won. I think everybody was almost unanimous.
The winner, Alex Hutchinson, presented a slideshow that combined food with the Purple Line.
You can see the variety of products. I mean, the noodle aisle was substantially more than just ramen and cup of noodles.
Alex followed that proposed transportation route and visited grocery stores along the way. We met up at one of his stops in Silver Spring, the Thai market. After lunch, Alex explained how he came up with his idea.
Well, I'm an English teacher, and I have so many students from all over the world. I teach English as a second language, and I ask my students what makes them homesick. You know, they're all away from home, some of them for the first time, and inevitably the first thing they say is, I miss my food from back home, you guys don't do it right. And I thought about that for a second, and in this area we have such a diversity of food, especially if you look along the Purple Line. We go from, you know, chic boutiques in Bethesda to Peruvian chicken joints in Langley Park. So I thought that along the Purple Line, if you really look at each stop individually, there's just so much diversity, and as you go along the way, you see how our region's progressed over the years and how it's changed and how it's continuing to change. And I mean, what better way to really sum up a people and to understand a people than to look at their food and what they're eating. So then I moved on to the next stop on the Purple Line, which was Gilbert Street. And I remember when I was growing up here, that used to be a bowling alley, and there's not really a bowling alley there anymore, but if you need to get your brakes worked on and in the process get a pupusa, then that's a great place to stop.
So you said that you grew up in Montgomery County?
I grew up right down the street in Tacoma Park, so it's interesting to see how much it's changed since I've come of age here. When I was in high school, the best thing that we had in downtown Silver Spring was the Baja Fresh. The movie theater didn't exist yet. Now I go down there on a Friday night and there's kids everywhere. It seems like a really fun place to grow up now. And La Casita is It's a grocery store / restaurant, and as far as I know, the only one that features a pupusa happy hour. So don't overdo it there. I learned the hard way. I felt good about winning. I almost didn't do it at the last minute. I got my presentation together and I came in, but I was surprised because a lot of the people are planning professionals. So being able to come in and have people look at my ideas and vote for them, that was pretty rewarding.
What I liked the most about his presentation was how in 7 minutes you can do something that is quite a serious topic of the diversity that you'll encounter along the purple line, yet he did it in such a playful way that you found yourself laughing and crying at the same time at the truth of his pictures, and then add to that his comments. It was frankly stellar.
And this was one of the few people that would actually pose for a picture. When I started there, and they're like, "Oh, who is this white guy with the camera? I don't want any part of him taking photos of me."
The contest, as well as the speaker series, found its home in the newly opened Silver Spring Civic Building. This building offers many ways for the community to come together.
There is nothing like it anywhere else where an urban area has created from scratch a brand new civic building. It's not a city hall, it's not an elderly center, it's not a youth center, but a civic building with spaces like what we have here where we are right now, a gallery and a great hall and meeting space, an indoor courtyard, and an outdoor plaza that's a public square. My hat's off to the 20 years worth of folks that have worked so hard to make this happen.
The Celebrating MoCo speaker series continues through June of next year. Each session focuses on ways to re-examine how we think about growth. For more information, go to montgomeryplanning.org/celebratemoco.
My name is Felix Contreras, and I live in Montgomery County.
My name is Steve Magacy. I have been living in Montgomery County for my entire life.
My name is Todd Noble, and I live
My
in
name is Janet Yu, and
My name
I
is
live in
Wanro
Montgomery
Lee,
County.
and I
My
live
name
in
is
Montgomery
Casey
County.
Anderson, and I live in Montgomery County.
Montgomery County, I think it's 14% Asian American. So 1 in 7 is Asian American. You know, my mother country is Korea, my father country is the United States. And with both parents, you know, you always want to have a happy marriage. And so that's kind of how I see myself on both sides.
It's good raising a family, knowing that they see other cultures.
Glad it's really enriching to have a community like this.
My company is called Acacia Financial Advisors, located in Rockville. And I choose Montgomery County. There's other offer in Virginia. I have a good listen and a lot of options for me, but I think Montgomery County is the best location for me and for my clients.
We grow over there peaches, apples, tomatoes, corn, vegetables, and we do roadside produce stands, and we move into pumpkin patches and Christmas tree lots.
My business is called Hollywood East Cafe. And actually, we've been in Wheaton for the past 15 years, and now we are relocating to Westfield Mall in Wheaton.
And I work in Germantown. My company is JG Business Link International, and we do international collaborations and business development with the state of Maryland and with Korea. So.
I live in a detached house. It's Victorian. It was built in 1892. It was one of the first houses built in Silver Spring in the last part of the 19th century.
We live in a condo, a high-rise in downtown Bethesda. It's a block from the metro.
I live in Agriculture Reserve.
I have a house in Wheaton.
Clarksburg.
Damascus.
Silver Spring, Maryland.
There's so many different things in Montgomery County. You know, no matter where you would want to live, whatever type of environment, I think you could find it.
A lot of people do not realize actually Montgomery County also is a good place for retirees. And you know, because after you retire, what do you do? And here you have all kind of restaurant, entertainment, library, and parks.
I sometimes say, yes, I am retired, but I don't think I'll ever really retire.
Usually I ride my bike, but I don't, to tell you the truth, I don't do it to make the world a better place. I do it because it's a really great option for me.
I take a car. My car is my second home. So everywhere I go, I drive my car.
And I don't have to drive to work, which is fantastic. I actually walk to work.
I never dreamed that I would see a day when a bus would be running every half hour in Clarksburg.
I commute on the Metro. I take the bus, catch it right there at Colesville, and then take the bus into Silver Spring, into downtown, and get on the Metro and Metro down to Gallery Place.
In this segment of Around Town, we're in downtown Wheaton, and we'll be talking with Planning Director Roland Stanley about the updated Wheaton Sector Plan. Roland, this is a really diverse area we have down here, a lot of different restaurants and businesses. How do these fit into the new sector plan?
Well, this is the sector plan. When you look at what's here, this is what we want to stay. And then we've just walked past, look what we've gone past, a nail salon, dance studio, Moby Dick Sushi, and it just goes on and on and on. And the key part about this is the small businesses exist here. The point about the diversity of this place with its ethnic diversity and retail diversity is those businesses become viable. The other great thing about here is there's so much of it that even as we build new, say in the parking lot, etc., over time, there will still be the demand for these kinds of businesses. And this strip is very unique in almost anywhere in that the buildings we're looking at beside us are actually one building that front on two streets, basically divided in the middle with businesses at both ends. That's really unusual and speaks to the strengths of the retail character and stamina of this area.
You mentioned this parking lot 13 over here. Talk a little bit about what's going to be happening here with this new plan.
Well, the county owns the land, and we can use that as a catalyst to redevelop. Often in an urban area, what we struggle with is if we put in too much green space, it actually damages the ability for retail to function. One of the big things about the open space that might happen here is you want to have a situation, as you've seen the cars have just gone by, is what do you do with the parking? You don't want to create so much open space that it kills the retail activity that could otherwise happen along the edge of it. And when you look at this parking lot space and think about the depth of it, there is a point where a lot is either too narrow or too wide for one or two buildings. It's a little too wide for two buildings, so if you have a building fronting along that street and you're looking at the width of a usable floor plate, measure the cars off, 20 foot for a car, 20 foot for a drive aisle, 20 foot for a car, 20 foot for a car. We're already in 80 to 90 feet. And this is about just maybe in front of this car where you'd see the taller portion of a building of 3 or 4 or 5 floors. So in fact, it'll probably be a little closer to there, leaving you some space at the back for other things.
Okay, the Safeway, this is a big project, a big part of the plan here in Wheaton. Tell us a little bit about how this fits into the puzzle.
It's the next stage of Wheaton in the sense that we have a building over here on the right that was built a few years ago. It's almost entirely residential, but they didn't build as big as they could have under the zoning because they didn't think the market was here for that. The nice thing about the Safeway project with the condos on top is it's now showing that the market does exist in Wheaton. It's bringing a whole new batch of units into Wheaton where we don't have them now. When you bring that kind of quantity of units in with the diversity of units, it brings the natural price down of rental costs. They'll patronize all the businesses we've been passing through here. And the nice thing about that is all these cars that pass by here, the moment they start to see people on sidewalks, they're going to start to think, I've never stopped here before, why are they there? And they'll stop. If a fraction of those cars stop, 3 times a week, it'll be a huge boon to this community.
We're in Kensington Heights, one of the surrounding neighborhoods to the Wheaton Town Center. How will this plan interface with this current neighborhood?
Well, when you look at the fabric here, these houses tend to be a little smaller, more affordable, but extremely well kept. And what's important is that we protect these neighborhoods and the interface to the commercial strips or the downtown and provide better connectivity for them and services closer. And a good example of that is this site right here. And now we have a couple of buildings here that have been abandoned for some time. In the future, if commercial uses come in, as we hope they will, they don't invade into that space and help become a positive to the adjacent neighborhoods.
What are the challenges in preserving this neighborhood?
Well, the challenges here are the interface between the stable residential areas and the commercial areas that we're going to be looking to get redevelopment in for better connections, more services, and the commercial uses pushed away from those nice houses.
Okay, Roland, thank you so much for this tour. That's it for Around Town, and we'll be back again next month, and we might be in your neighborhood.
With everyone looking for ways to go green, we're setting aside some time to explore environmental efforts being done around the county. One element being installed with greater frequency is the green roof. These aren't just roofs with plants on top of them. There's a lot more to it than that. So to find out just what goes into the making of a green roof, we visited the City of Tacoma Park's newly renovated Town Hall. In 2003, the City of Tacoma Park began construction on a new municipal community center. Throughout construction, city officials emphasized the building's environmental sustainability, or how green it will be. The auditorium features energy-efficient lighting and HVAC systems, along with environmentally sustainable finishes and furniture. In 2009, thanks to a $70,000 grant from the Maryland Department of the Environment, the city was also able to install this green roof atop their parking garage. Darryl Braithwaite is the city's Public Works Director. She explains that you have to think about the overall structure before installing a green roof.
A green roof does have much more weight than a normal roof because of the soils, the water, and the plants themselves. So when you have a structure, you need to make sure it's strong enough to hold the weight.
This roof was installed less than a year ago, so it's still in its early stages of development. The vegetation will get thicker, but the real construction is beneath the surface.
First thing we had to do was put a waterproof membrane over the deck surface, and that's true of any green roof. You can't allow your water to penetrate into the building, otherwise you'd have severe problems. The rest of the green roof is kind of built in layers. First, you need a root mat to keep the roots from penetrating into your waterproof membrane. Then it has kind of an egg carton-like looking thing which allows water and air to flow in and around the plants. Then you have a filter fabric to keep the soil out of that egg carton spacer. And then you have the soil itself and then the plants.
The plants on this roof are different varieties of sedum, which can tolerate a wide variety of conditions. Because this is a new garden, there's one more element.
This fabric that you see laying right here, that's actually a retention mat. It helps hold the soil down, so if we have high winds, it won't blow off. It also helps a little bit to keep the weed seeds out. Now you notice here what's underneath it. This doesn't look like much could grow in there. It's a mix of stone and sand and organic material like mulch. So there is, some earth in there. It's just hard to see.
Green roofs are a welcome relief from the concrete and asphalt surfaces that make up so much of our urban landscape. And because they don't radiate heat from the sun, green roofs can help reduce outdoor air temperature. But that's not all.
It helps to clean the rainwater. Phosphorus and nitrogen in the rainwater are picked up in the roots, and the plants use those for growth. It also helps filter out dust and particles and pollution that would otherwise be in the air and be in the water. And so as the rainwater runs through the plants and feeds the plants and restores the roots, it then flows into our stormwater system. But that water coming into the stormwater system is much cleaner than if it had just directly fallen from the rain.
And what has been the reaction to this new roof?
There's been a lot of interest here in less pavement, more green space. So rather than just have a hard concrete deck, to have something that grows and is vegetated was seen as a real plus.
Well, that does it for this edition of Montgomery Plans. For more information on these and other planning board topics, visit our website. Join us again next time when we bring you more on the issues that affect quality of life here in Montgomery County. I'm Michael Brown, and thanks for watching.